commit yourself as a professional racing driver that is designed to win races, or you come second. If you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver.
Senna wins at Monaco.
Senna's hiding into the pit wall. He's got Mansell crawling all over him. He has no reason to stay out.
34-year-old Brazilian next to Pelé in national status in his home country died after crashing head-on into a concrete barrier at 300 plus kilometres per hour.
I've been responsible for the design of a car by then for a few years. Stupid as it sounds, I've never ever thought or questioned, if somebody gets badly hurt or worse in a car that I've been overall responsible with, how am I going to feel? And when it happened, it was just, I can, the biggest memory of that is the bloody klaxons. When all the noise, all the spectators made.
We really should be seeing some medical attention coming quickly here to the Williams with Senna. His head is he's very still in that car.
With all these images of Ayrton sitting upright in the car. You're hoping desperately he's okay.
When did you know that the accident was more serious than just another accident?
I knew on the grid, but I didn't know that. Anne Bradshaw, who was the Williams PR woman, she said Ayrton's gone off. And I said, well, how is he? And she said, well, it's not good. It's quite serious. I was in the medical centre because I had to drive without the power steering because they weren't sure what had gone wrong, so they turned off the power steering. So I'm dehydrated and everything, and I'm in the medical, and Dickie Stanford came and said, that Ayrton had died. And that's the first time I heard of it. Yeah, shocking.
I was at Silverstone. I was doing the Bank Holiday Monday race for a team called Vortex. And there was one truck, their truck, and it had a television that had the Grand Prix on, and I was just watching on the telly when the crash happened.
Senna, my goodness! I just saw him plunge off to the right, and Senna has joined.
And I saw the crash, I thought, that doesn't look good. And I spoke to Ian Cunningham, who was working at Williams, and he obviously explained, Ayrton's gone, and the team is, my manager, who was there, I was asked about it straight away, you're the test driver, will you be going for it? And I said to my manager, we don't call Frank Williams, we don't call Patrick, we don't call the team. They know who I am, they know where I am. I've been testing for them for 2 years. If I'm the person that they want, I'm available, but I don't want to be that guy phoning up saying, oh, you need a driver.
What a waste. I think that was the biggest single emotion. What a waste of such an amazing person, such a stupid accident, and such an unlucky accident. And as much as if it hadn't been for the wishbone leg, then he would have been absolutely unhurt. But of course, in the aftermath, he then goes through you got the initial emotion of, do I want to continue in working in motor racing?
How close were you to stopping?
Yeah, I've definitely thought about just stopping. And then what happened? Was it the steering column snapped? Did we completely mess up the design and field a car that was unsafe, or did something else happen? And at the same time, I was along with Patrick, and we were both on charge for manslaughter, which lasted for about 10 years, which was a pressure, but it wasn't the key thing for me. The key thing was, what part did I personally play in what happened? And I don't think we'll ever know with absolute 100% confidence what happened. None of the data points to the steering column being the problem. What the data does show is that the car snapped sideways in a corner that should have been flat. He got through the first lap flat, so why on earth didn't he get through the second lap flat? He did have a big moment on the first lap, but caught it. But Second lap tire pressure should have been up and he should have been fine. So, I don't know, you can speculate it was a slow puncture. The right rear tyre was destroyed, so you'd never know. What I do know is the car was aerodynamically unstable, which is definitely down to me. I'd messed up on the aerodynamics of the car. The diffuser was stalling at very low ride height. And Ayrton, having lost the first 3 races, was absolutely determined to carry the car and win that race. And so that's the responsibility I have to live with.
Up until they died, both Roland and Ayrton loved racing. They loved doing it. And that's why they were there. And that if you didn't understand the risks before, then you were, you shouldn't really be doing it, you know? There was no starker example of the risks happening. I mean, don't forget, Ayrton got in the car after Roland had his fatal accident. He decided, I am going to race. And so if we all walked away, then we would be not true to ourselves. We all watched Ayrton. Everyone in F1 was watching what he did because he was so mesmerising, really. But as a person, he was a kind person. You could tell he was a kind person, really. He had a very big heart, and he was very determined to do the right thing and to do good for the world if he could. And meant a lot to Brazil, obviously. He was, at his funeral, I remember someone saying to me, he said he was the best thing about Brazil. You know, they had enough troubles, but he gave an entire nation a reason to hope. He really was huge to them, and he understood that. He understood that he had a responsibility to a whole country. So he wasn't just racing for himself.
And I went to Jerez to test for Williams. And I was told that during the course of the test, a driver would be coming, or a number of drivers would come to be evaluated, to be put in for the Grand Prix seat.
You know how much I love Formula One, and we know that you love the Formula One conversations here on High Performance. But the truth is that high performance in F1 isn't just what happens on the track. It's also about consistency. It's about identity. And you know what? Style works the same way. Because the clothes that you wear, they become part of your story. They're the reason that you stand out. And that is why we're so excited to partner with Vestiaire Collective for the launch of their first ever menswear experience. You can now find a curated selection of standout menswear. That's Cartier watches, Louis Vuitton bags, Gucci sneakers, Burberry jackets, all available at up to 80% off retail. And it also goes the other way. If you think it's time to change up your wardrobe, you can sell your own pre-loved treasures with low fees while giving them a new lease of life. And with more than 15 years of authentication expertise, Vestiaire Collective makes buying and selling simple, stylish, and secure. Honestly, I think it's fantastic. Vestiaire Collective, the go-to destination for pre-loved premium menswear styles. To get involved, just click the link in the description to buy or sell men's pre-loved fashion.
And come the final day, no one's turned up. It's still me just testing. And Frank, I was told, was coming to the track. As he arrived in the track, I damaged the Williams car. I'd never damaged the car in testing, but I clipped one of the bales, damaged the car, get back to the pits, and they bring the car back and Frank's there. And he went, despite the fact you just crashed one of my cars, I'm here to tell you, you'll be racing in Barcelona. And I went, okay, thank you, Frank. And he was like, would you like to know what I'm going to pay you? And I was like, oh, well, okay. What are you going to pay me? And he went, £5,000. And I'm like, it was such a random conversation, such a random number, because, Ayrton, the greatest, I believe was on like $1 million a race or something. And it was almost like the smallest number he could justify signing a check for that race.
You weren't going to say no, though.
No, of course not. I didn't even think about the money.
Yeah.
I've never been someone that's been motivated money first. It's always the opportunity, or what is the event, who are the people, and then if all of that makes sense, if there's a financial reward, then of course you want to know what it is.